Welcome in, witches and wizards. Happy New Year. I've been busy. Now, I have a newborn son, and so I haven't made any videos for the last month. But with that being said, it's a new year and I want to get back into it. I'm going to start live streaming on TikTok as well. This is going to be about this year and my expectations of the year. I've got some oracle cards I'll pull. I also want to tell you what I've noticed and what I expect to happen over the next year. So let's get straight on into this, and if I need to write anything, I've got the board up in front of me, so we will do. So just the collective, let's go over what's actually happening. We have wisdom, knowledge, legacy, which is the persistence that you have for what comes next, and then destruction. The first two, right, wisdom and knowledge. These bode so well together, because it's you questioning your reality. I can't actually see if that's on screen. It is perfect. Okay. So that's you testing your reality. That's you questioning what is and what isn't working for you anymore. And so, I mean, this is going to be a bit of this year. We're going to be breaking out of that matrix. Like, people think it's a movie. The more I learn about spirituality and my understanding of it, the more I notice that The Matrix is a documentary, and not of the world that we live in, but of one of the multiple realities we can live in. And therefore there is always the next thing to go to. And so in The Matrix, in terms of what I know now, you can escape what you think is the Matrix, but then there is one further. So everyone that has ever died leaving the Matrix still then goes on to another life, goes on to the next part of their journey. And I think a beautiful way of putting that is the idea that you exist, which means you always will, you always have, and it doesn't matter what happens next. There will always be a tomorrow for you. And as you climb the dimensions, it may not feel that way, but you will, whether it's breaking time itself or just enjoying the moment. If you are stuck in time, then the wisdom and knowledge that's coming through these cards is that those illusions that we are playing to, that this physical reality is the be all and end all, will break down. That was then followed by legacy. And again, this is what we are holding on to, what we're trying to build, to leave behind. And if you are doing this in the moment, you are constantly building a legacy. If you are going, I'm building a legacy so that when I die, there is something left over, you have stepped out of the present moment. And so in terms of a year, your focus should not be on what is here when I am gone. It is what can I create and enjoy now, in every moment of each moment in this year. The final card was destruction, and it says release your anger. A lot of you may already have disagreed with what I had to say, and that's not why I'm here. It's not to tell you that this way of thinking is the only way of thinking. Each one of us is a beautiful perspective of a soul, and therefore your way of thinking is beautiful in its own right. But, and it's a big but, if you are fighting your reality and it feels like you're never in the right place, if you're confused, if in this scenario you're angry and you've got pent up energy, then realize that you are not working at your highest self. Again, this wisdom and knowledge coming to you is a reminder that your potential, the life that flows naturally, is on its way whether you like it or not. If we go back to that analogy of you exist, therefore you will become something other than you are now. This also means that at some point, full stop, you will wake up and realize your power, whether that's while you're still human, whether that's once you're gone. That's not so much something to hold on to, that's just, you'll know whether that's part of your journey. And I can give you the example of myself. I've always been into gods, Egyptian gods, Greek gods, Nordic gods, things like that. I've also been very drawn to stories where people let go of their bodies, as in like someone goes into a room and then when their friend goes in after them, the body's just gone. And that idea of letting go, they don't need to die as such, they're just, when they know they're ready, they will go. And I think Sadhguru has a quite famous story on like that concept with his wife. And I believe that's the way I'm going. But in terms of the next year, a lot of this has been showing up, and I'm expecting this year to be one where I wake up. Now, again, your version of waking up is going to be very different. And this isn't me saying I'm just going to leave this existence, but it's realizing what I'm letting go of. Knowledge and wisdom are two sides of the same coin, and yet they are very different. Let me see if I can remember which one's which. Knowledge is knowing that a tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is knowing not to put a tomato in a fruit salad. But you need to know both. You need to know the why, which is something that I've been struggling with recently, because I feel it's so easy to let go of the why, and then life becomes infinitely easier. And my wife's the opposite, which is why I know she's in my life, because she'll ask why to everything, and I'm like, why are you asking why? You're asking for worries. The moment you let, and can I give an example? No, not really off the top of my head, but if something happens to you and the first thing you do is go, why is this happening to me? You've given your moment's power to something else. You've gone, that has happened because of this thing externally, instead of realizing that it's you. And this is why if the smartest person in the room is usually the one that realizes they know nothing. And that's such a powerful quote, is because when you realize you know very little or nothing, then every moment you exist can be joyful and exciting to be in. Whether that's worrisome, whether that's joyful, whether you're going through hard times or beautiful times, you're either learning or growing constantly, or celebrating that growth. And so, welcome to the wake up call. I'm sure if you're seeing this now, I'm not the first sign. And if I am, and this resonates with you, then a lot of other coincidences are about to come your way. But I hope that helps. I'll leave that there. If anyone has anything they want me to cover this year, let me know in the chat down below. Also, don't forget to subscribe. I'm going to try and take YouTube quite seriously this year. I may even stream my live stream on YouTube. I'll see if I can get TikTok and YouTube working at the same time. I got this up, and all I wrote was Matrix. So I feel like I need to draw something as well. Let's see what comes up. Actually, let me tell you another story. Because my son, and for those of you that were there on the first TikTok live stream this year, my son joined, and he was pulling cards for me, not on purpose. Like, he was just trying to play with them, but I was giving readings, and then I was using the cards that my son was giving, and like all of a sudden, almost every reading I gave resonated more than usual with the people I was giving readings to. So I did this little experiment where my son had like 3 colors, and he was like with the red, and then he went, I think there was a green and a yellow, and then there was one other color. Was it? We'll go with blue. Right, he did something like this. And then I was like, all right, so let's see what he's trying to tell me. So I drew a dot in the middle. And this is how, when you trust yourself in any moment and give meaning to anything, like, you can use anything to divine the future, which is actually just you appreciating and realizing the moment, which will then follow with that frequency. So I drew a line like this from the middle. That's an awful line, but point still stands. And I went my way around. So in this scenario, we have a lot of red. And so let's see what we're manifesting. I'll actually go through the cards and see what more we can get out of this. This is wisdom. This is survival. And so we'll go with some trees. Beautiful trees. And then as we go around, we hit the water. The blue element, which is now water. And then we've got this like stream that is flowing through, where we're trying to just flow with life. And we can't work out if the red is also like the idea of anger, which comes up in a different card, but it has to be present if we're dealing with it. So these trees they're angry. Something else just came to me. I heard on a video about Bashar, where someone had been speaking to trees, and I don't know if they were high or whatnot, but they went, the trees have been really sad because humans have stopped talking to them. And I was like, why do I resonate with this so much? So maybe this year, give meaning to the things around you, like trees. And I've given examples before with, like, if I see a squirrel, I know I'm going to have joy. If I see a lot of seagulls, I know I'm going to have to make a lot of difficult decisions throughout the day, or that there just are lots of decisions I could be taking. If I see, what other examples can I give you? If I see a raven, then I'm going to learn something new. And that is how we create purpose. It's we give meaning to our world, and then our world will reflect that meaning. It's also another reason why you've manifested everything. Everything around you. This is going back to what I was speaking about earlier. So this was probably why I needed to do this, to refresh my mind of what I was talking about. You've got to realize that your external world, this illusion that I'm talking about, is just a reflection of yourself. And when you look in a mirror, you don't go, oh, that's another person in the mirror. No, you go, that's a reflection of me. When you realize that the world is identical in the way it works, then everything external from you that you see with any sense has been created from your actions, your emotions, from what you do internally within your mind. And when you start realizing, well, when you're in a mirror and you raise your arm up and the mirror moves, then you start realizing you can do the same thing. And so this stream here is the line of least resistance. You can weave through these angry moments, these trees, with ease if you stop fighting each moment, if you stop worrying, if you stop asking why, if you stop blaming, if you stop being the victim and go, well, let me take ownership. And not only take ownership of my struggles, but appreciate them. Because everything is a duality. You have to, put it this way, let's say you want to manifest a life where you are rich beyond means. Well, that means you have to manifest a reality where there is poverty. And most likely will experience it. So that you then have something to compare that existence to. But this all comes from within yourself. This is why I try not to watch the news, because all you hear about is war, fathom, and illness and whatnot. And I can watch it now and not hold on to any of those things. But if you find yourself like gritting your teeth at what's happening on the news, then you're fighting the very thing you're meant to overcome. And it's not saying appreciate war, but what it is saying is if there is war, then you can be grateful for the peace that there is in this world. And then that is what will be attracted within your reality. Instead of focusing on the war and making it worse. Because the moment you fear something, it will be enhanced. So to the point where it gets so bad that you have to overcome it. If we're going with the next color, I think it's green. So we've got red, red, blue, yellow. What's yellow going to be? We have the issues. We have the line of least resistance. This is going to be little bushes. These are the distractions within our day. And here's something else I heard recently, which I agree with, because I've done this before. I've done a 4-day dry fast, which is no food or water for 4 days. And my body was screaming at me when I started eating food again. It knew exactly what was good for me. It knew exactly what I should be eating and what I shouldn't. But so the quote goes like this: if you sit in silence for 3 days and remove all distractions, you will know yourself completely. That's it. And yet 90% of the thoughts you had yesterday are the same as today. And so this is the idea of that reflection. It keeps recycling the same issues. And so if you want to overcome these issues, you have to first of all realize what patterns are playing out. You have to realize these little bushes. And so what you'll notice is life is a bit like a wave where you get ups and downs. You get angry, you feel like you overcome it, you feel over the moon, you go, I'm untouchable, I can do anything, I understand all. And then life cuts you at your feet and go, yeah, but you missed a bit. Welcome to life, welcome to a heartbeat. It's meant to be that way. Hence, enjoy the bottom, enjoy the top. You get to enjoy life to its fullest. But this is, once you've cottoned on to the bigger picture, which could have already happened during this video, then you have to start filtering out the things that keep you where you are. Whether that's the mindless scrolling on your phone, whether that's the negative people in your life. Do not be scared to cut people out if they do not serve you. And again, this is completely based on your belief systems. And so if you're one of those health nuts and you've been snacking over Christmas, well, all you have to do, because of your belief systems, to overcome a lot of your issues is just cut out the crap and go back to the gym. Because that's what you've told your world is important to you. And so find out what your system is. Because I did a video on TikTok about this the other day. The best thing you can do to learn who you are is listen to the advice you give to others. Because that advice is based on your belief system and how you run your world. And so the funny thing with that is the advice you give may not work for someone else because their belief systems are different. But it will 100% work for you because it's based on what you believe. So the next time you find yourself helping someone else, there's a good chance the reason you're there is so that you can realize that you've actually got something that you can do or you can help yourself with. And these are the tiny bushes that you can overcome. So stop being distracted. The final one is the green one. So red, blue, yellow, green, and this covers the whole base. And so we'll almost look at this like an astrology chart afterwards as well, where we can see where the issues are going to be. But if we go to green, and I guess there's got to be like a little rainbow at the end, or maybe in the middle. There, I'll tell you what, Bashar has been talking about aliens. So how about we go with this idea that at some point we meet aliens? I follow this guy called is it Crypto Camel Finance, I think, and he does the stock markets and stuff like that, and I've been learning a lot about that over the last year as well. And so even though, yes, these are aliens, like in terms of what I'm using, but this is just something that you cannot imagine actually happening. And like being blown away. And so if we're breaking this up, at the start of the year, let me go to the black. So what's this? Almost every 3 months? Every 2 to 3 months? And so, first of all, there's a bit of everything in each. But the main themes is we have almost all the green is in this area at the bottom. And so I'm going to conclude it like for about 6 months of the year, your life is going to just get turned upside down. But notice how it ends and starts with it not even being there. So the biggest thing that you have to handle this year will be you haven't even thought about it yet, and it will be completely over and overcome by the end of the year. That being said, the worst time is that about 3 month range. Probably starts after Valentine's, those of you that are struggling with love. Getting angry at yourself, blaming others. You've got to let it go. And then things really start to flow around here. The midpoint. It's where, if you have been listening to your higher self, whether that's your guides, whether that's trusting your intuition, whether that's just journaling and listening to what's actually going through your head so you can start to change for the better, or just appreciate and be grateful for what is happening. About the 6 month point, you'll start to notice a huge difference within yourself. You'll have completely changed. And what that means is you've basically shifted to a different version of yourself that is happier, that is more in touch with nature and the world around you. And just a little comment on the idea of nature. A lot of people see nature as something that they would love to be in. They do not see themselves as part of nature. If it is all part of your reflection, you are part of nature. Let that sink in. The 4 seasons are not happening to you. You are part of each and every season. If we go back to that tree analogy, if you just documented a tree in your garden or in your local park that you go past often, you would drastically change your inner world. You'd notice the leaves fall. If we're starting now, you'd notice when the leaves start to grow back. You'd notice when the flowers start to blossom. You'll notice when those flowers turn into seeds or acorns or whatever you have near you, fruit or whatever that is. You then will realize when the fruit drops and the animals come out to feast. You'll notice when the leaves drop and refertilize the soil. You'll see the squirrels go back into hibernation. And when you realize that's happening to you, you stop getting so bogged down with all the struggle. You stop beating yourself up because you've had a bad week. Well, you've been hibernating, that's all. And so my advice, get a journal, So you can start realizing those distractions, because the yellow's everywhere. And if you're unable to let go of let me give you an example, because I still mindlessly scroll, but because I am conscious of what it is I'm doing, a lot of when I'm scrolling on either Instagram or TikTok, I've got it to a point where during my scrolls I'm seeing spiritual messages, themes coming up, tarot readings. I get people like Bashar, Sadhguru, and I get a lot of podcast quotes as well that are constantly coming through to me when I'm scrolling. And so I can have a 15-minute scroll session on the toilet and I won't feel like I've just wasted my time. But if you weren't watching, if you weren't aware, you wouldn't have even realized you were wasting your time in the first place. So start following accounts that actually excite you. And it could be because, again, this is my journey to spiritual. You may just have a crazy hobby. You may like a game, and that you really resonate with. You may be one of those people that is something that I've noticed pop up more recently, because I've been trying to get back into rock climbing, getting a lot of rock climbing videos, and these are things that I resonate with. So if you are doing something that actually resonates with you, then the mindless scroll becomes part of the learning process. And therefore the distraction, it's still a distraction because it's part of the illusion, but you are here to live an earthly existence. And if you're ready to leave and become something bigger or better, or maybe even worse if that's the journey you're going down, I don't judge you for that. But the point still stands that you're meant to be changing in every moment. And so just make sure that it is for the best version of yourself, so that you can follow the line of least resistance. And I actually saw this idea where a lot of people are here and they want to get to there. And they go, well, the fastest way is like this. That's, for instance, winning the lottery. And yet, if that happened, this life is not the one that was written for you. And therefore it is not the one of least resistance. It's the path that allows you to truly feel what it feels like to have no money. It's the path that allows you to truly feel like you've worked for what you own, that allows you to lose everything you've gained and still make it all back to the point where you are appreciated and feel worthy, not just from the people around you, but yourself. And then you finally get to, well, there. Sorry. And so technically, it may be a longer path, but that is the one that is easy, because in each moment, you are your best self. Instead of you having to win the lottery, get to a financial goal in your head, but not have the awareness to either appreciate it. And again, it's not about what you do with it. Yeah, you can buy lots of nice things, you can save everyone around you financially. Again, that's more of an illusion than anything else. But I know these illusions are very gripping. I have a family. These are not illusions that I want to be getting rid of anytime soon. So I understand that they feel very real as a human, but the line of least resistance, the one where you can enjoy every moment, is not one where you win every second. It is one where you appreciate the ups and downs, so that when you are high, you can compare it, you can judge it to where you were. once again, Happy New Year. And I feel like I dropped a load of gems, but they are so like scattered throughout this whole video. So I can't even see how long this video is. But I'll leave that there. Where are we? I can't even see it. Right. Oh, half an hour. Okay, not bad. Yeah, I'll edit out the start, so I think it will be slightly shorter. Right, from me, stay kind, stay cute, stay curious, my friends, and have a happy new year.